Hey, what's up, everybody? I do believe that not too many people are going to get this live because I am shadow banned on this channel, but there's a lot of stuff that I really wanted to get out. Rest in peace. My condolences to Malcolm Jamal Warner, who recently lost his life in Costa Rica. There was a drowning accident, and there's so much scandal going on with celebrities. He was one of the ones that never ever had an issue with scandal, as far as I can tell. He was really a good gentleman, a good guy, a good brother, a good American, a good example. Of course, he made his first appearance as far as being famous on the Bill Cosby show. He was the son named Theo. And of course, that was one of my favorite shows because it was a positive reinforcement of, families that were together. It was light humor. It just felt good. They looked good. It felt good. It made Black people have hope to have a better tomorrow, because most of the stuff that was shown on TV a lot of times was very negative, and it really showcased Black folks in a very distasteful light. But the Cosby Show came, and that really made a whole lot of different possibilities for Black people, performing in movies or TV shows and stuff, to have endless possibilities of having different characters. So I really want to get to some of the things that he said before he passed, and what happened and whatnot. If you guys could, please hit the like button. Please share and subscribe to the channel. I didn't know that he was into reciting and writing poetry. I also didn't know that he was a part of a band and he was a songwriter. And I wish I would have known that. I'm really kind of upset that I never got wind of that. But let's go back a little bit to share a little bit of his life, to kind of remember him. I want you guys to know who he was as the man he was, Malcolm Jamal Warner. I know he was a father. I believe he was married a couple of times, and he just was a good guy from what I'm looking up on him right now. But let's get to the last video. So it says, and this comes from Mr. Eck TV, or Merc Eck TV. It's about a minute long, and he had this to say on his last video. So let's see what he had to say, and take a look at that.
What's good? Yes, I got the flower in my hair. Today's my daughter's birthday. She put the flower there, so I'm rocking it. What? It's a beautiful day here in Atlanta. I just wanted to shout out and just spread some love and some good cheer. And life is out here lifing, right? For me and for everybody else. But just wanted to remind you, as I remind myself, that no matter what's going on, there's always a reason to smile. Like, if you just take a minute to stop and take stock, I guarantee you can find at least one reason to smile. And if for some reason you can't find a reason to smile, then that's probably the best time to be the reason for somebody else to smile. So, find a smile for yourself and be a reason for someone else to smile. That's all I got.
So he was a very, very insightful guy. Hold on for a sec. I need to close this window. It's kind of loud. Hold on for a sec. Okay, I'm back. Now we're going to look, just trying to remember him a little bit. Then we'll get into what they said about him passing and whatnot. But I just want to share a little bit more about who he was. I wish I would have known more about him. Let me see. Let me find this other video. Okay, let me see. What is this? Okay, here is some moment of him before he passed, and he had some other stuff to say. Hold on. He was only 54 years old, you guys. 54 years old. He just was in the prime of his life. It's really, really sad. My condolences to all his family and friends and people that he worked with in the business. Anyone affected by his death.
Yo, good morning. So I'm headed to the gym. I've been having some issues with dad bod for quite some time. I go through periods where I'm more consistent and more on top of things than other times. I've been down on myself the last couple of days because I've not been consistent. This 5-0. I'm in Atlanta with a phone in my hand. I'm not supposed to be doing that. And I've been down on myself. Today I just kind of had a reframe and, I had to remember that, falling off the wagon, if you will, is part of the process, right? You take 2 steps forward and 1 step back. Unless you are a Zen master, you're not going to always get it right. You're not always going to be perfect. Even Zen masters still have to do work and still practice to keep that Zen mastery up. So I just wanted to share, for those of you who I don't even have my seatbelt on. I am just tripping today. For those of you who may be going through some things, not being as on top of things as you'd like to be, or as disciplined as you'd like to be, or if you're falling off the wagon, just remember it's part of the process. To be great.
He just seems like a very inspirational type of guy. And you don't see too often, a lot of happy-go-lucky, encouraging, productive, go-lucky type of individuals that go out of their way to try to make someone smile or make someone look at life from a different lens if they're struggling. And it sounds like he was trying to let people know, to look at life and get what you can from it and benefit from, the experience. Sometimes you can't do everything that you want to do because we're human. We might fail a little bit in keeping up with our routines, like working out or being health-minded, eating healthy and doing the things that you're supposed to do productively day to day. We fall short sometimes with other things that we grapple with. And he was trying to let you know about trying to be a little bit on the up and up. Let's hear some more about what he had to say.
Take some stumbling, right? If it were easy, then everybody would be great. So be great. Have an awesome day. Be good to yourself. Trust the process. Understand the process. Have a great day. I'm going to have a great day. Peace.
What's good? Yes, I got the flower in my hair. Today's my daughter's birthday. She put the flower there, so I'm rocking it. What? It's a beautiful day here in Atlanta. I just wanted to shout out and just spread some love and some good cheer. And life is out here lifing. right, for me and for everybody else. But just wanted to remind you, as I remind myself, that no matter what's going on, there's always a reason to smile. Like if you just take a minute to stop and take stock, I guarantee you can find at least one reason to smile. And if for some reason you can't find a reason to smile, then that's probably the best time to be the reason for somebody else to smile. So, smile for yourself and be a reason for someone else to smile. Oh my God.
Okay, well, I showed that before and it played it again. So, just to give you guys an idea of how he represented himself as a man, as a Black American, as a celebrity, as someone that was kind of well put together. From what I'm seeing, he seems to be really well put together. And it's such a tragedy to have lost his life in a tragic way of as far as drowning. Let me see who's in the chat room. Hello, Headahan, Hain. I mean, if that's how you pronounce it, I'm sorry, but hello. What's up, Days? Thank you for coming through, and everybody that has hit the like, I really appreciate it. We are now in a minute gonna go to what happened to him, just to hear that. I don't know how many people have heard the story of his passing. It just was a couple of days ago, I believe, but he was on vacation with his family, and I believe they were all probably, I think his kids might have been in the water, I'm hearing, and he might have saved his daughter before he had his issue with the water. We'll get to that in a minute. Hold on for a second. So after I talk about this, we're going to talk about the fact that we need to be on self-defense mode. A lot of people are getting beat up. There was a story, for instance, of a Black woman in New York or New York City, one or the other, who was jumped on by some immigrants over a parking space, and she got beat up pretty bad, and nobody stepped in to stop it. And we need to know, in my opinion, which is why I'm going live, that we have got to defend ourselves and expect people to be wilding out, being hyperly emotional because of all these deportations and everything that is going on right now. And of course, people are looking for people to take it out on, their frustrations. And I believe that a lot of us as Black Americans are going to really get a lot of people to want to harm us. They're going to take out their frustrations on us. And I'm going to show a couple of videos in regards to that. Let me see. And I said, hold on. Yeah, in regards to that, Malcolm, let me put that in. I'm trying to, what's his last name? No. Okay. See if it comes up. No, it won't. Oh, there it is. Warner. All right. His last name is Warner. Okay. So anyways, the lady got jumped on because she was trying to get the parking spot. The immigrants were holding on to the parking spot, which was illegal the way they were doing it. The lady was trying to speak out about it, and she got pounced on. Now, the picture that you're seeing in the thumbnail, apparently a guy was in Mexico vacationing, celebrating or something, and he got whomped on by some Mexicans in Mexico. They're taking out their frustrations on him because he's American, because of all the things that Trump's doing. They're targeting Americans, and I'm trying to let the word be out for you to be mindful of the times we're in. I would steer clear of going to Mexico. I would steer clear of being out and about in public without something like pepper spray or some type of weapon on you, because a lot of people, like I said, are taking advantage of the opportunity to try to harm somebody because they're frustrated. They don't want to be told nothing. They have no respect to give. They feel like they are being targeted and picked on, and why not pick on the less fortunate people such as us, which is Black Americans or Black people in general. But you as a Black American, immigrants are going to want to strike out, in my opinion, because you're not sharing in the festivities of these deportations. You're not being rounded up. You're not being sent off somewhere. So please keep something on you, especially if you're a woman. Have in your purse or backpack, or even on your person, in your pocket, pepper spray, a knife, something to be able to defend yourself in the event that people come from nowhere to target you and harm you because they think they can get away with that. So that's what we're going to talk about after I get done remembering Malcolm. So let's get to why he passed, and we'll get to this clip. By the way, I didn't say fair use. Fair use of all the videos that I show under the Copyright Act of 1976, under copyright for education, commentary, entertainment, all the above, not meaning to infringe, but to inform and to showcase videos that is relevant to the conversation at hand. So that's why I will be using videos to showcase in just a little bit for that purpose. So now I'm going to go to why he passed, for those that don't know. Again, this is Malcolm Jamal Warner. He passed away a couple of days ago. Also, rest in peace to Ozzy Osbourne. I heard he passed, I believe, yesterday. So rest in peace to him as well. And condolences to his family and loved ones. Of course, Ozzy Osbourne was a musician, I believe a rock star, whatnot. And he was 76, I want to say. He just recently passed. I don't have no information as to the cause of death of him, but we do know the cause of death to Malcolm Jamal Warner, which is a drowning. So let's listen to this tidbit of Malcolm Jamal Warner. If you guys have anything to add to the conversation, please feel free to go into the comment section and write in what you would like to add to this. I would love to know what your opinion is. Let's go.
It's bananas out of here, right? Malcolm Jamal Warner, the actor who first captured America's heart as Theo Huxtable on The Cosby Show, has tragically passed away at the age of 54. His death occurred on Saturday, July 20th, 2025, while he was vacationing with family in Costa Rica. According to reports from local authorities, Warner was swimming off the coast of Playa Cocos, a picturesque yet notoriously risky beach on Costa Rica's Caribbean shoreline, when he was caught in a powerful rip current. Witnesses described the situation as sudden and terrifying. One moment he was laughing and swimming with family, the next he was struggling against the pull of the ocean. Lifeguards and bystanders attempted a rescue, but it was too late. His body was later recovered, and Costa Rican officials confirmed that the cause of death was accidental drowning due to asphyxia. Warner, by all accounts, was healthy, happy, and enjoying a peaceful getaway before the incident. The news has left his loved ones and fans across the world stunned, grieving the loss of a man who had quietly remained a meaningful part of their lives for decades. Warner's career was the kind that most actors only dream about. He became a national figure as a teenager, playing the beloved Theo on The Cosby Show, a role that made him a symbol of a generation and helped redefine how black families were portrayed on mainstream television. Unlike many child stars, Warner managed to carry that success into adulthood without being consumed by fame. Instead of chasing headlines or sticking to safe roles, he chose a path rooted in substance. He starred in sitcoms like Malcolm and Eddie, took on emotionally grounded parts in dramas such as Suits, Read Between the Lines, and The Resident, and even voiced animated characters, all while building a reputation as a quiet force in the industry. Outside of acting, Warner was a talented director, poet, and musician. His 2015 Grammy win for Best Traditional R&B Performance, earned alongside Robert Glasper and Layla Hathaway for Jesus Children, was a testament to his artistic range. He wasn't just an actor, he was a multidimensional creator, constantly working, constantly evolving. But beyond the resume and awards, what people remember most about Warner is the way he carried himself. He had a calm energy, a reflective presence, and a deep sense of integrity that set him apart. He wasn't chasing celebrity, he was building something real. He used his platform to uplift meaningful stories, particularly those that reflected the complexity of Black identity and masculinity. You didn't see him involved
And that is what I want to also talk about, is our Black identity. I want to talk about, the fact that there is a movement to delineate, as you guys should know from my last video, if you did catch it. We have, unfortunately, an issue with leadership and with us having our own ethnicity that is not shareable with immigrants or anyone that comes to America using our governmental imposed name that we never liked, which is African American. And so many people have benefited off of using that label, that term, to the point where it has become a scam, a grift, that I believe that we, with our delineation movement online, has to take a way off of YouTube and actually write petitions, proposals, declarations, whatever you need to do, in hopes to get the attention of people that can change it, meaning Mr. Donald Trump, our president, and others. I don't foresee Democrats or anyone in the so-called Black leadership of any help. They have abandoned us collectively as Black folks, or Americans. All Americans have been abandoned by these Democrats. These Democrats have taken over, trying to help illegals out as their go-to and their most important mission right now. So him talking about identity in this video is reminiscent to where I'm at right now in my mind moving forward. I want to talk to ADOS. I want to talk to the FBA people. I want to talk to the ones that are a part of this delineation movement. We can't stay put on YouTube only. I think it's a very disservice to just idly sit back on YouTube complaining about our lineage being messed with the African American term. Yes, we call ourselves other names now. The most popularized name to date is Foundational Black American, or ADOS. I call myself Indigenous American Black or Indigenous Black American. But the point is, it's not recognized nowhere else but YouTube. And I think that that's going to cause an issue moving forward. And for some strange reason, we see people that's rocking the ADOS and FBA not making it a point to do anything outside of YouTube. So it does feel to me as if it's staged, or it is something to waste time if you're not going to go do stuff outside of YouTube. And we're going to talk about that as well. But I believe that him being a Black American, Malcolm Warner, was a wonderful example of how a righteous Black man carried himself. He was very righteous, and he wasn't afraid to express himself. And I think with me looking at his life, how expressive he was in music, writing, poetry, and all the things that he was doing on YouTube, it just reminds me of the fact that a lot of us are losing our way with having our own voice, especially in politics. Right now, we are really at a loss for words of leadership or anyone that's representing us as Americans, for real. Especially Black Americans are without any type of leadership right now. We're kind of like out in the wilderness right now. And it's very, very scary to just let these Democrats or Pan-Africans, Africans do what they've been doing. They're running around making up plans involving us without asking if we want to be bothered with what they have planned. And a lot of people are acting as if they can just force us like we are sheep to partake in stuff that we never signed up for. And this is the issue that I'm having with us not having proper leadership to be able to represent us and nip those things that's going on wrong with these people that's trying to represent us. So him, Malcolm Warner, having his voice, his presence, who he was understood. I feel that we are losing ourselves if we do not find ourselves outside of YouTube. So I just want y'all to keep that in mind moving forward as you look more into this video. I'm about to wrap it up, but let's listen a little bit more to this video.
Scandal or self-promotion. Instead, you saw an artist who let his work speak for itself. Interviews with Warner often revealed a thoughtful, introspective man, someone who took his craft seriously, but never took himself too seriously. He was known to be generous on set, respectful of others, and full of quiet wisdom that seemed rare in an industry built on noise. The response to his death has been swift and emotional. Across social media and news outlets, colleagues, co-stars, and fans alike have been sharing stories, clips, and memories. Tracy Ellis Ross, who starred with him in Read Between the Lines, wrote, "Malcolm made you feel seen and safe. There was a stillness to him that made people feel grounded just by being near him." Actor Morris Chestnut called him a light in the industry, smart, focused, and full of grace. Other artists, including Ava DuVernay and Sterling K. Brown, posted tributes honoring Warner's legacy not only as a performer, but as a cultural figure who helped change the game without ever needing to shout about it. For fans, especially those who grew up in the 80s and 90s, the loss hits on a personal level. Warner wasn't just someone they watched on TV. He was part of the rhythm of their upbringing. He represented the kind of big brother, the kind of son, the kind of man many aspired to be or wished they had in their lives. His portrayal of Theo was funny and flawed, but also layered and heartfelt. He brought dignity to every role, no matter how small, and his characters always felt like real people. Never stereotypes, never caricatures. That kind of authenticity is rare, and it's part of why his passing feels so devastating. He was more than a celebrity. He was a presence. At just 54, Malcolm Jamal Warner had so much more to give, to his craft, to his audience, and to the people around him. His sudden death is a painful reminder of how fragile life is, and how the people we assume will always be there can vanish in an instant. But while he may be gone, his work and the quiet strength with which he lived his life will remain. For fans, for peers, and for the culture, Malcolm Jamal Warner is not just remembered, he's deeply missed.
Definitely. Man, you know, he was so young, 54. You never imagine someone like him would lose his life so young. I know it's possible to happen to anyone, but you know, we just sometimes assume people that, you know, we grew up watching, they just have an extra, you know, force behind them to keep them alive until they're older, much older. And unfortunately, this time around, it didn't work out that way. But what I'm getting from just looking and listening to his life is he was a man that represented himself in all its ways. He did not allow stereotypes to come in to influence him. He did not allow, you know, the culture that is showcasing a lot of negativity right now to mimic any of that. He was a real man's man, a decent man, an honorable man. I can just tell from what I'm hearing about him. And he was basically one of a kind. A lot of us sometimes have a hard time being authentic, you know, and I feel that most of us should attempt to live our truth out here in the world right now. Because if you're not going to live in your truth, if you don't be who you are, other people would take it upon themselves to make you over against your will. And that's what we're finding is happening with the usage of African American and others such as Pan-Africans who have an agenda to try to make us over and try to tie us up, bound us to Africa without bothering to know if we want to be bothered. And for instance, I talked about the African Union in my last live, who is taking it upon themselves to declare them taking leadership with trying to get reparations for us and other so-called melanated people around the world. And I have an issue with that. They have their own issues with themselves in a nutshell as the African Union. They don't do anything really to help out the Africans in Africa. And also, I didn't invite them to be my leader. How dare they take it upon themselves just to take over something that they have no right to do, especially, in my opinion, anyone that had anything to do with the slave trade. It is boiling my blood to know that those people are the ones that are trying to lead the charge for reparations. It is so disrespectful to our ancestors. And I am going to do something about it. Whether or not FBA, Tariq Nasheed, ADOS, Yvette Carnell, or anyone takes this time to be serious about our situation. And our situation is, you know, too many people are taking it upon themselves to speak for us. They are making up narratives about us without our consent. That's a big no-no to me. It's very disrespectful. They're treating us like we're kids or slaves, like they own us, like they have authority over us. And that is a big no-no. The African Union, as I stated before, have a bigger fish to fry. They need to get their shit in order with other countries of Africa to figure out what they're going to do without waiting on Trump for the USAID and other monies that they're constantly begging and hoping for. They need to get off their asses and do something collectively among themselves without trying to include us as the go-to scapegoat, the go-to people that they continually feel like they just have this ability now to just reach over to America and just snatch us into things that we're not wanting to be involved in. And because they're doing this without my consent, I have got to take my own power back and write something to Trump. I don't believe that I could write anything to a Democrat because I have written to Democrats. I wrote to the Black Caucus back in 2021, got no reply from Sheila Jackson Lee, from another lady that was there, and I got one reply from an attorney general, but that was it. They never bothered to acknowledge that they even received my letter. So I know moving forward, I cannot leave to chance talking to any of the Democrats. And I know that they are treating us as if that, we don't have a right to speak up and have our voice. And we are needing to have a fight to get our voice back because people are trying to make us not have a voice. They're trying to dismiss us. It's very evident how the Democrats are moving. And I would like to know from the FBA people, if you're listening, in the ADOS, what are y'all going to do? We don't want to be bothered with Pan-Africanism. We are not Pan-Africans. We're not going to Africa. We don't want to build Africa. That is not our business. That is not our goal. And we got to get ahead of these people that are trying to make it seem like we're all in this together. Yeah, you have some knucklehead, crash dummy Pan-African fools that have allowed themselves to be used like crash dummies, sacrificial lambs, getting their names on rosters or whatever, declaring that they're Pan-Africans and they don't mind what the African Union is doing. But those few cannot speak for a million of us or millions of us. And I really feel that we individually should put our ink on what we want and tell it to Trump. Tell it to him who can make the changes and adjustments while he's doing all these different things right now, changing everything. I mean, the man is making sure that he is getting rid of as many people as he can get rid of as far as the immigration and deportations is going. And there is loopholes using the African American term, as I showed y'all in the last video, that is very problematic. It is not fair that people can pretend to be African American, whether they are Indian, whether they're Kamala Harris, Barack Obama, or a random African or an immigrant that wants to play dumb and pretend like they didn't understand that African American was not for them to claim. And it's very puzzling to me that Pan-Africans are playing stupid like they don't know that this has been going on. And it only makes me believe that they're a part of an agenda, knowing full well that they are attempting to do what they're doing. And we got to do something to get ahead of it and stop them in their tracks. And I'm going to do my part. So yeah, I will be writing President Trump. I will be writing him. And I will also be contacting a few other agencies to input what I know about the African Union. And the fact that one of the YouTubers, let me see if I can find her real quick. She was just talking and speaking on the African Union just today. So let me get to her video real quick to just give you all an idea where I'm going. And then we'll get to the part about self-defense and whatnot. We'll get into a little bit more about that. But let me find this lady's video. I just had it. Where did it go? Yeah, the African Union is doing too much, and they have a lot of things that they could be sorting through without obsessing over Black Americans. That's what I don't like at all. Let me see. Mirika, the blueprint. Okay, yeah, let me find that. She has been on it. The Marika C blueprint. Please subscribe to her. She has very interesting information that she's been finding out. And she did find out, let me see, about the African Union, something that she was pointing out recently. Let me see. Hold on, let me see if this is right. If you are listening and you have not yet, please do me a favor and hit that like button. This is my backup channel, by the way, for those that don't know. I do have another platform that's bigger, but I'm unable to get on that channel right now. So I decided to go live to showcase this video right here I'm doing now. Okay, all right. She has, I hope she didn't take that video down, for God's sake. Please tell me you didn't take it down.
No, good. This is the problem with the conversation we're having. I have not once not.
Hold on, is that the right video? All right. Okay, I'm gonna assume this. Going to share reparation with this arm. I don't know if that's the right one. I hope to see if this is the right one though. Hold on, let me play this real quick.
And see, there you go again. Black Americans aren't being ignorant and not being slow. Good. This is the problem with the conversation we're having. I have not once knocked any African people. I have not once knocked any African people. Now, if I went ahead and did that, I would be wrong, right? Right? But I haven't done that. You have, in this conversation, this communication skill problem. Okay?
That's not the right video. There's a video where she outright talked about the African Union, and that's not the right one. But there's something that she found out about the African Union, about them. Is this it? Hold on. I hope this is it.
So someone gave me the heads up in my comments, and it's about fraud, right? And the AU has had instances of that going on where people tried to steal the money that was given through the AU from completely.
Okay, so this reads that the African Union has faced instances of attempted and actual embezzlement of funds, with recent cases and involving fraudulent attempts to withdraw money from the African Union bank accounts. These incidents highlight the need for enhanced financial security and internal controls within the organization. The African Union has stated that within the organization, the African Union has stated that, well, I just read that. The African Union has stated that it is taking the matter seriously and working to, I guess, stop. What does this say? Hold on. Why is this in the way? Come on, man, this is retarded.
Okay.
Oh my God.
So someone gave me the heads up in my comments, and it's about fraud, right? And the AU has had instances of that going on where people tried to steal the money.
Okay, it says it's taking the matter seriously and working with financial institutions to prevent future frauds. As I have already disclosed, the African Union had brought up that the ambassador, used to be ambassador, Dr. Ericana Kuya Hombre Kwao, was fired for being a fraudster. And this she's bringing up is, I guess there's been other tales of fraud, embezzlement, and funds that have somehow come up missing from the African Union Bank. So the point is, if they already have instances where people are robbing and embezzling and stealing funds from the African Union, why in God's green earth would we trust them to handle so-called reparations money, for them to have their hands on that as well? That's our point in bringing up, we do not want the African Union to have control or leadership or any say on the matter, anything pertaining to anything linking to us. I need Trump and others that are thinking like me to proactively write towards, trying to get Trump to do something about what's going on and stop, block, write an executive order, whatever the hell he can do to get the African Union to erase us from being attached to them. If the so-called crash dummy Pan-African want to hold on to the African American term, crash dummy wants to still be partakers in believing in the African Union, they need to make it known themselves. They need to go sign up themselves personally to link themselves to the African Union, agreeing to give up their freedom and right to protect themselves. But they're not going to be allowed, in my opinion, to include all of us, whether we like it or not. That's the issue I'm having with the African Union. And Afro Think Tank, you is a bitch, by the way. You are putting on a video a chicken squawking all over the place while you're trying to mock Black Americans for bringing up they don't want the African Union handling monies, and you are mocking, saying that we don't know what we're talking about. In fact, let me play that video because I am going to tag you also in the video. I've been wanting to get at you for a while. I wonder if you are going to say anything about the fact that the African Union has been accused of embezzlement, missing funds and all that. And is it something that we should want to be partaking in? You want to believe and have faith that these people are doing right by being in charge of so-called our reparations, and that's not true. Did you take down the video? I'll be dang, you took down that video. Wow. You actually took that video down. Okay. Well, you gotta answer some things, Afro Think Tank. The African Union, again, is a cesspool of elitists who are fraudulent individuals who can't seem to get their shit right in that organization. And your bitch ass wanted to try to mock about us bringing up the fact that we don't want them over our reparation conversation. And you took down that video. You's a bitch. You know damn well what you said on that video wasn't cool, but you don't have that video up right now. At least I don't see it, unless you have another channel that I don't know about. But yeah, he was actually holding a chicken while the chicken was making all kinds of noises, and he wanted to make it seem like we had chicken heads for not wanting the African Union to be over talks and conversations and leadership over our reparations. And we do not want, FBA doesn't want them over it. ADOS doesn't want them over it. Me, even though I don't claim to be FBA or ADOS because they're not officially known off of YouTube. If they were officially known on and off of YouTube, I wouldn't mind being called Foundational Black American. But Tariq Nasheed, he is not summoning and asking his people that are all listening to everything he's talking on to go do something proactive and get this popping. You know, just like Frederick Douglass, who was an advocate, and he definitely did a lot of things talking to the president to work out different things for us as a people. And I think that someone needs to come up like a Frederick Douglass and represent us. But because we don't have representation like that, we're going to have to go rogue and do it ourselves. So I'm trying to encourage y'all who are listening, that is ADOS or FBA, please think to write a simple letter to Trump to describe why the African American term is outdated. It's a grift term. We are desiring to have our own ethnicity, and we do not want Pan-Africans and Africans attaching themselves to us through that stupid African American term. That is going to be the reasoning for me speaking to President Trump. Even if he doesn't respond, I'm going to keep a copy of what I wrote so that I can go to court if I have to later on, dealing with the African Union, because again, they're trying to put us in a jurisdiction of theirs without our permission. They're not respectful people at all. And that's what I mean about some of you Africans are very, very disrespectful and assuming that you can insert yourself into our affairs as if you got it like that, as if you are superior to us, as if you are regulating us. And I'm telling you, get the fuck on. I don't care if it hurts your feelings and it don't sound right. No one invited you here. You invited yourself in our shit, and you shouldn't have did that. You're nothing to us. You're nothing to us. I don't give a damn how you want to paint a picture of we're your people. No, that's a grift, bitch. That's you hustling us. And only the dumb motherfuckers that don't know no better would fall for that bullshit line. You guys are assuming we have 1.7 spending power, and you want to get your grubby hands on that. And we're trying to tell you that it's not your business to even concern yourself with how much money we got. It's not your fucking business. So get the fuck on and find something else to do. Move around. Okay, here's another video I want to show in reference to the African Union. Listen to this real quick. I think this is the right one. Okay.
I'm so glad you left this message. So this commenter says, I don't trust it either. I'm an African. I want to see at least 20 countries in Africa doing well without the West intervention. You see what I'm saying? I mean, you got to have some kind of something to look at to say, okay, they're on the right track, right? There you go. I'm not quite sure why people are upset that Black Americans are apprehensive, very apprehensive, extremely apprehensive about all of this, okay? Because I know, and you just proved that even continental African people are wary of a lot of different things going on the continent with the African Union. Black Americans are not crazy. We see it. We woke. Just like our forefathers told us to be. Stay woke. I'm so glad you left this message.
And my point in bringing that out is a lot of us are speaking like they're woken, that they're understanding stuff for the very first time. I know when I came to YouTube in 2018, I did not consider any of this stuff. I was not paying attention to none of this stuff. It's only after I started listening to different platforms and listened to Africans claiming to be African American, arguing with me about it, arguing with me that they can use that term legally and this and that and the other. I was like, what? And it dawned on me, we really don't have our own ethnicity. And I believe that that is the crutch of all the issues that we're having with a lot of people that are spiraling out of control with not knowing what their identity is. They don't want to settle for an identity because that African American term has made us restless. It is not a very prideful term to hold on to, especially if it can be manipulated and used by anybody. How can you find pride in that? That's what I want to know. For those that are Pan-African bitches, crash dummy hoes, and dumb birds, how can you find pride in a African American term when anyone can use the term? There's no pride to be had in that. This is why we want to break free. And we want to make our own name, but we need to make it official so that the world knows who we are moving forward. And that's what I'm going to intend to do. So that's what I want to talk about in a nutshell. Please, ADOS and FBA, if you're listening to me, please consider writing to Trump. If you do write to him, get a copy of what you write and save in a file copies of anything that you do. Also get a certified mail, which is I'm going to do that, so that I know that he knows that he received my letter. Even if he doesn't address it or answers it, at least for my records, it would show that I sent it to him and what it entailed, what was the conversation on. And I think that that would be very important to just build a file, a case to use against the African Union, because again, I don't want to be a part of their fucking jurisdiction. I don't want to be considered an African American, and I don't want them claiming me at all. And it is not Islamophobic, xenophobic, whatever way you call it. It is a matter of fact, my choice, my right, my view, that I'm not allowing others to just bully me and bulldoze me over and make me have to do something I don't want to be a part of. That's the point of why we have to do more than be on YouTube arguing with these immigrants all day. Because I see these videos, a lot of people are getting upset. In fact, there is a boycott that's being called for August 1st, where people are saying that they're going to boycott Africans, the braid shops, restaurants, and whatnot. Why? Because we are tired of the disrespect. We're tired of people assuming that they can speak for us. We're tired of Africans trying to hijack our shit. First, it was the Black History Month, where many immigrants were claiming our Black History Month as theirs. And it's our shit. Then it was Juneteenth. They're trying to change it into the RBG. They're trying to flip it to mean that it's for everybody in the so-called diaspora. Again, nobody wants Black Americans to have anything to themselves, including their own fucking identity. They don't want us to have our own celebrations. They don't want us to have our own culture where we have so many things to remember that we've been a part of and that we build and collectively have formed in this and that and the other. They want to eradicate any significance of what we've done and claim it to be all about Africa. And that is the agenda that has been going on that I've been aware of since 2018. And I'm sure it's been going on even prior to that. But Africa needs to get their own shit. Africans need to go and get their own shit and claim their own shit by their own damn merits and stop trying to leech off of Black American successes and history and civil rights and everything that we have accomplished, our name and everything else. Get your own shit. That's all I'm saying to you. Get your own shit. Then we can have a little bit more respect for y'all. But trying to hijack our shit and make it yours under the guise of fake, felonious, fraudulent, Pan-African conversations is not working out no more. We've woken up to the grip, to the hustle of Pan-Africanism. We see it's lopsided. We see only Africans benefit off of it. We see Africans have their hands out while we give up our money towards them, towards development, towards land, towards building, towards touring, towards everything. We're giving up money. We're bankrupting ourselves to try to be a part of what they're on. And I'm not down for that. So for those that desire to be a part of submitting themselves to Africans and worshiping them like they're gods and all that kind of stuff, have at it. Just don't expect me and mine to be a part of all that. We're not here to worship any goddamn African. I'm sorry. We're not doing that. And that is why we can't get along, because they have this expectation, not all, but too many have this expectation that we're supposed to serve and service Africans. We're supposed to want to try to mimic them. We're supposed to want to get to know them. We're supposed to want to be a part of what they are on and what they're talking on with their culture and this and that. I'm not fucking interested. Is that okay, yo? There's nothing wrong with me to want to stay as is. There's nothing wrong with me not trying to change my colors. And people are running around saying that we are hateful if we don't want to bow down to them. And we're not doing that. So I hope that that message, that memo, reaches the masses out there to understand that we now are waking up. We see the hustle. We don't like none of it. We don't want no part of it. And just move around. Move around. So now let me get to the part of this video about protecting yourself and why I think that we're going to find ourselves more and more trouble out here, unfortunately, with what Trump's doing with these mass deportations. So we know a lot of stuff is happening. Here is one of the videos that just happened about a parking spot. I want to show this video real quick, but this is just proving my point. We are defenseless. We have nobody that's representing us or going to protect us. So we got to do everything that we can do to protect ourselves from people that are scrambling and struggling and desperate right now. Bottom line.
A fight started after a woman tried to park in a spot that was blocked off by trash cans. Ended in 2 arrests.
All right, Fox 5's Richard G. Covis is in Ridgewood, Queens tonight with more on what happened.
Even in the middle of the day during a busy work week, there are no parking spots to be had along this stretch of Putnam Avenue in Ridgewood, Queens. And this week, the fight to nab one of those coveted spots got just as hot as the summer heat.
I've literally burnt a quarter of a tank driving around this neighborhood at night. Comes 5 o'clock, forget about parking here.
Cell phone video from Monday night shows a woman standing in the middle of the street asking if she could park her car into a spot that appears to be blocked off by garbage cans.
You ride by and see trash cans in the street. It's not right. It's not fair.
Police tell us that a 21-year-old woman got into a heated argument over a parking spot outside 18-28 Putnam Avenue with several people standing on the sidewalk. In the video, less than 30 seconds, the person in the white t-shirt lunges at the woman. Another person pounces, and soon it's 3 against 1. Cops say the victim was punched multiple times in the face and body, causing her substantial pain. The video shows that woman dressed in all black on the ground, getting slapped. All because
Again, I would have had at least minimally pepper sprayed or a knife or something. I would have had it in my hand. She could have had it on her purse or on herself to take it out. As soon as someone ran up, they should have got spritzed the fuck up. And then if you get one, the others will get out the way and you can run away. But she was not prepared. And these people are, again, she mentioned, I believe, that they were immigrants. I remember seeing another clip where she had mentioned that they were immigrants. And as soon as she said that, that's when they rushed her. And I'm just saying, her being in New York City or New York, it is a lot of immigrants that are there. And they are very, very upset about what's going on. So you do have to look out for people that are really scrambling about not knowing how volatile they are and unstable they can get because of how they're responding and lashing out because they're frustrated and they've taken it out on you.
Neighbors say this mother-daughter duo was saving a parking spot. Like one man describes it, it's every person for themselves in this part of town, at least when it comes to getting a spot.
Yeah, it's hooray for me and screw you. That's just the way it is.
After a few minutes, police arrive and arrest the mom, and witnesses say the woman who was fighting for the spot eventually won it, but had to endure a physical fight that neighbors say is not the solution.
Yeah, I thought they would have better, sense than that.
Police tell us that they arrested 2 women that night and charged both with assault. Meanwhile, the victim was treated at the scene by EMS and is still recovering. There's a local advocacy group, though, that says there's a bigger problem here, and it's this parking issue that's been plaguing this neighborhood for more than a decade, and they say something needs to be done about it. We're in Ridgewood, Queens. Richard Giacobas, Fox 5 News.
But that's not all. Like I say, even if you're calling yourself going on vacation to Mexico now, it is very, very dangerous. And this story I want to showcase now about a guy that went to Mexico and he got rocked because he got jumped. He was attacked and robbed. And because he was an American and he was black. And so we got to be mindful that we're going to be targeted people. More and more people are going to want to lash out against us. And that's the warning that I'm trying to give my people to understand, that if you're not prepared, it's going to be bad. It could get bad. So let's take a look at this real quick.
Blame Trump for this treatment, is what they told me. I've been in Cabo San Lucas for the past 48 hours for a celebration for graduating from Pakistan. And me and my brothers were kidnapped, robbed, and beat, and thrown in cages, held captive for 16 hours. Our jewelry stole, no more necklace. Cash stole out of our pockets. And the result of this, my eyes swollen shut. I'm pretty sure it's fractured. This eye can barely see out of. But I think I'm safe now, so I'm in the airport, about to fly back to LA for immediate care. Please, everybody, pray for me. And this is your warning to not go to Cabo San Lucas, but stay here far away. Blame Trump. Is what they said. Stupid Negro, Negra, stupid Negra, stupid Negra. Blame Trump for this treatment. That's what they told me.
Blame Trump for this treatment. Again, they are cowards, bitches, to be attacking one person and you got about 3 or 4 others that are attacking a defenseless guy. But again, like I said, people are jealous of our status as Americans. They did not foresee us not being able to be deported. And a lot of people are talking hella shit about us not going to the front of the line, protesting, putting our bodies out there, throwing our bodies into the middle of all the mayhem that's going on about these deportations. They want to take it out on us. They took it out on this guy and he got beat up and robbed. And they happen to say it's because of Trump. Nigra. So please be mindful. I wouldn't go to Mexico right now. You couldn't pay me to go under no circumstance. But he's given the information for you to understand that it is not safe out here.
Stay away from Cabo San Lucas.
No. Them putting the N-word there over and over and over and over and over again, then go blame Trump for this. No, you already kind of like that. And this is probably what y'all probably been doing to people the whole time, even without Trump, to try to enhance the excuse for doing that. That's crazy.
In Mexico, we already know that MAGA people hate Mexicans. Are you a MAGA follower?
No, all Mexicans ain't racist. I'm just saying.
Please do not come to Mexico. Do not come to Cancun. Do not come to Puerto Vallarta or Acapulco. Stay in the United States. Eat your Taco Bells. Eat your burritos. Eat your whatever you got back home. In Mexico, we already know that MAGA people hate Mexicans. We already know that you support.
It's to the point so where that's not true, but I'm not a MAGA person.
Again, they're going to assume whatever they want to assume. And it just needs to be stated that if you are an American, especially now, going to Mexico is playing Russian roulette. Being an American in America with all these deportations going on, and the fact that people know that most of us are not protesting and people are offended that how dare we speak not about what they're going through. A lot of these people are just not good people to begin with. This is why I'm glad that Trump is dealing with them. I'm going to tell y'all, if you are an illegal or know that you could get deported, just do yourself a favor and self-deport. It is not worth what Trump is setting up for y'all to go through. I would take my money and go. To be put in Alcatraz, alligator Alcatraz, or to be shipped to another country you're not even from, such as Africa and all this other thing that he's doing. That's why a lot of people are really upset as well. And they want somebody else to pay for what they're feeling. So we got to know that. In fact, there was a LA mother who was an illegal recently accused of faking immigration kidnapping. She was faking that the ICE detained her. She was trying to get money from GoFundMes and whatnot. These immigrants, these illegals, have no shame. They have no integrity. They're going for broke. They're going out like whatever. they don't give a damn. They have nothing to lose because they're being sent off somewhere. So let's look at this video just to show you the mindset of some of these immigrants or illegals are going through, what they will go through, what lengths they will go through to try to get money, to try to get sympathy and empathy from you. And luckily she was busted, but it's not from a lack of trying. She definitely tried. Okay.
LA woman accused of staging a fake immigration kidnapping is now facing federal criminal charges. Good afternoon. This is the KTLA 5 News at 4. I'm John Fenolio. She allegedly claimed she was being held in a facility near the border, but the Department of Homeland Security says they found her at a mall in Bakersfield. KTLA's Sarah Welch joins us from South LA with the story. Sarah.
Hey, John, good afternoon. The Department of Homeland Security says Julie Calderon made this whole story up, that it was a hoax, that she blamed federal agents while stoking fear in the community. Free Julie now! Back on June 30th, family and friends of Julie Calderon claimed she was kidnapped in this Jack in the Box parking lot off Alameda in South LA by federal agents or people working with them.
Ununiformed men and unmarked cars kidnapped Julie.
But the U.S. Attorney's Office says that was a lie. In its criminal complaint, they say these are photos of Calderon, a citizen of Mexico, on June 25th, parking her Toyota in the fast food parking lot, getting out and then walking across the street to get into another vehicle at this gas station and later driving away. Days went by and the family set up a GoFundMe to help find her, and they also filed a missing persons case with LAPD.
She was taken straight from here to the border and pressured to sign self-deportation paperwork.
Calderon claims she used another person's cell phone to say she was taken to a warehouse at an unknown location. But federal investigators say that was also a lie. And when we asked LAPD, all they would tell us is that they had closed the missing persons investigation. Federal investigators say Calderon was never in federal custody. And on July 4th, they located her with this woman at a parking lot in Bakersfield. Investigators say she stuck to her story. She'd been kidnapped. And these are photos investigators say Calderon created to make it appear as if she was in custody and being mistreated. But the U.S. Attorney's Office says she orchestrated the phony kidnapping to generate public sympathy and solicit donations. Now, the U.S. Attorney's Office released this statement saying dangerous rhetoric that ICE agents are kidnapping illegal immigrants is being recklessly peddled by politicians and echoed in the media to inflame the public and discredit our courageous federal agents. He went on to say, in terms of this case, all those involved will face the full consequences of their conduct under federal law. Now, Calderon has lived in L.A. for more than 20 years. She's charged with conspiracy and making false statements to federal agents. So far, no one else has been charged in this case, but the U.S. Attorney's Office says this case is ongoing. We did reach out to Calderon's family and the family attorney, but we haven't heard back yet. Sam, we'll send it back to you. Sarah, thank you.
Like I said, they will do just about anything because they are really desperate right now. And they don't care who they harm or who they lied to, who they steal from, who they kill, whatever they can get away with, they will do it. And I'm glad that she was busted. I'm glad that she will be dealt with. I have no issue with none of these criminals that are being arrested and detained and deported because, again, they are replacing us, whether you like to acknowledge that fact or not. They're not a benefit to us whatsoever. They are bogging down the system with too much weight, too much money that's being spent for them. And they just need to get on. They just need to self-deport. Now, I don't know if you guys have heard, but there are a lot of ICE detainee stories that are happening. Let me see if I can find the latest. Hold on. Just to let you know, it's getting really serious out here. And we need to be prepared for anything, basically. That's what I'm trying to say. Because anything at any given moment can happen. Let me see, where was this? All right, for one, let me see if I want to play that first. Okay, millions of undocumented immigrants will no longer be eligible for bond hearings, y'all. I don't know if you guys heard that, but he is definitely disallowing, President Trump is disallowing anyone from being able to just use any type of loophole right now. He's closing everybody's options off. He's cutting everything out. Check a look at this.
And sources tell ABC News immigrants who arrive in the U.S. illegally will no longer be eligible for a bond hearing. Under the new policy, migrants can be held in ICE detention indefinitely until their deportation hearings, which can take months or even years. Previously, they could request a bond hearing before an immigration judge. Now the Trump administration is eliminating that process of having to seek release on bond. ABC News Washington, D.C. Bureau Managing Editor Catherine Falders and legal contributor James Sample have more on that story. So, Catherine, just walk us through. What's the latest here?
Yeah, well, the latest on this came in an ICE memo that was obtained by ABC News, and it's a major reversal in this policy that is surely to be challenged by the courts. But this new policy, of course, is regarding immigrants who arrive in the country in the U.S. illegally. Now, previously, they were, for the most part, they were able to go to a bond hearing and seek bond pending their detention hearing. Well, this major reversal came in a memo from ICE, from the acting ICE director, Todd Lyons, who says that the policy of the administration will now be for them to not be able to have bond hearings. And as you mentioned, those deportation hearings, those can take months or even years. So that means millions of people are unlikely to be entitled to bond hearings. And then, of course, that raises questions about the prison system and the capacity. This is millions of people we're talking about. However, this is most likely, almost certainly, will be challenged in the courts. I can imagine we will see a lot of legal challenges.
What does this mean for the millions of illegal immigrants in the U.S. right now? Does this change the process for them?
Well, Diane, for the millions who are already here, sorry, I didn't know if that question was to me or not, but for the millions who are already here in terms of if it will change the process, I think that's an open question. I think that this is a memo that was sent last week, of course, by the acting ICE director, and there will be lots of questions about exactly how this will work. Of course, this comes as the immigration judges across the country, a lot of them have been fired. There's a shortage of immigration judges, so it still remains to be seen exactly how this will be implemented for people who are already here, who maybe have received a hearing, who had a hearing on the books. A lot of that reporting still needs to be done, but at least this policy change did go into effect, according to the memo, we believe, last week. They're citing a legal code that, again, will be challenged throughout the court system. I don't believe there's been any legal challenges on this yet, but it's something that we surely will see.
And Catherine, the Supreme Court's also clearing the way for the Trump administration to dismantle the Department of Education. What's the Trump administration saying about their plan?
Yeah, so the White House is saying...
Okay, so again, if you are an undocumented immigrant, more than likely you'll be illegal, but you're not going to be able to receive a bond hearing. They're just going to have your ass hemmed up somewhere without any due cause to get out of the situation. You'll just be in their control, their authority. He is making sure that you guys get the memo that you need to go home. And that's what I mean about why there's going to be so many more people that's going to be really acting out and coming out of their skin, maybe acting demonic, whatever, because they just can't handle all this pressure that's being applied by Trump. I mean, he's closing out food stamps. He's stopping all kinds of monies to help and aid illegals. They're being purged. So we need to know that people are going to be getting their hands on guns and act a fool, whatever the hell might be. Just be careful out there. Just be prepared out there. And, you know, recently a customs agent was shot. So there's a debate going on about the sanctuary city laws. I want to hear the border czar, Tom Homan, speak to that real quick. Let me get this video about that. If you guys could, please hit that like button. It does not cost anything. I'm just trying to get more people to know that this other channel does exist so that they can hear what I'm talking on. And it's about our safety. It's about defending yourself and being prepared for what could happen behind all these people that's very just pissed. They're very upset, and they have good reason to be. But, you know, they had it good for a long time under the Democrats. The Democrats were giving them the impression that they had the red carpet, that they could do no wrong, that they could get away with almost anything, and they would be let out of jail and be a part of our society and not have no consequence for a long time. Those 4 long years that Biden allowed the flooding of all those immigrants to come in like they did, those illegals, and now they're paying the piper, and they're not thrilled. So we can't assume that these people are going to be decent around us anymore. We got to assume they're going to act berserk out here and act a fool.
I visited the officer last night. Of course, he was heavily sedated. I didn't have words with him, but I did talk to his family. They're devastated. It's just a shock to the soul when you walk in and see that young man laying there. Secretary said it, Rodney said it, sanctuary cities are sanctuaries for criminals. Hard stop. I've been doing this since 1984. I've never seen a situation where I see it today. New York City, how many times you want to see NYPD attacked by illegal alien criminals in the city? Now a federal officer. How many citizens in this city have been attacked by illegal aliens in this city? You see the polls, everybody agrees we should be arresting public safety threat illegal aliens, but you got a city council here that locked this out of Rikers Island. Are you kidding me? So an illegal alien in Rikers Island we can't talk to, we don't have access to. That makes the city unsafe. Every sanctuary city is unsafe. I'll say it again, sanctuary cities are sanctuaries for criminals. And I want to work very hard for Secretary Noem to keep President Trump's promise and his commitment several weeks ago that sanctuary cities are now our priority. We're going to flood the zone. You don't want to let us into jail to arrest a bad guy in the safety and security of a jail. You want to release him into the street, but it makes it unsafe for the community, makes it unsafe for the officer, makes it unsafe for the alien. Anything can happen on the street arrest. So what we're going to do, we'll have more agents in New York City to look for that bad guy. So sanctuary cities get exactly what they don't want, more agents in the community, more agents in the work site. If we can't arrest a bad guy in the safety and security of the county jail, then we'll arrest him in the community, or arrest him in the jail. And when we arrest him in the community, if he's with others that are in the country illegally, they're coming too. Sanctuary cities are sanctuaries for criminals. President Trump is not going to tolerate it. And I'll work every day with Secretary Noem to make sure we get as many bad guys, illegal aliens out of this country that we can. And I want to say one more thing. I'm sick and tired of reading in the media every day how ICE is not doing what the Trump administration has promised, that we're not arresting criminals, that most of the people we arrest are not criminals. I look at the numbers every day. The numbers I looked at the other day, 130,000 arrests and 90,000 criminals. Do the math, that's 70%. And who are the others? Others are those who have final orders, who had due process at great taxpayer expense. A federal judge ordered them removed, so ICE's job is to remove them. Who are the rest of the people? National security threats. Under Secretary Noem's leadership, they've arrested several hundred Iranian national security threats. They may not have a criminal conviction, but they need to be detained. They need to be arrested and taken off the streets of this country. Then I read another story about how most people in ICE detention aren't criminals. Now the story is, how bad of a criminal they have to be. I saw a story the other day. Only 1% of the illegal aliens removed were murderers. Are you kidding me? Being in the country illegally is not illegal anymore. You got to commit a murder to be deported. If you look at ICE detention, I'll say it again. Look at detention. Who's in detention? I looked at the numbers this morning. A majority are criminals, a criminal history. Who are the rest? Final order cases, who are judge ordered removed. The others are expedited removal by federal statute demands they be detained. So for the media out there, let's try telling the truth about the men and women of ICE and the men and women of the Border Patrol. I wore that uniform. I was an ICE agent. These are the finest men and women in this country. They put their lives on the line every day for this country. I buried Border Patrol agents. I buried ICE agents. Luckily, thank God, we're not burying one today. Enough. I love the men and women of ICE. I love the men and women of the Border Patrol. They're finally doing the job they took an oath to do, and they got a great leadership of Secretary Noem, who's going to enforce the law without apology. I appreciate your leadership. I think it's all.
So it's not going to get any better, and more people again are going to feel frantic, desperate, alienated, hemmed up, or in a corner, trapped. And you know, if you feel that way, a lot of people have bad responses to that type of pressure. So let me see. There is an article that I wanted to read in regards to Haiti or Haitians. Hold on, let me see if I can find it. Let me see. I had an article earlier. And thank y'all for being here in the clouds. If you would, please hit that like button. Please share the video. Subscribe to the channel. I would greatly appreciate that. But it's getting kind of hairy out here, y'all. It's getting kind of hectic out here. You never know what's going to happen behind a desperate person on the run, trying to hide from ICE, and how we could be affected by people like that. Hold on. I can't find this article. What happened? Okay, hold on. Let me see. Does this come up? The board permanent resident. Did I? Okay, hold on. Let's see if that's it. Okay, let me see. What's going on? This won't even show. All right, it's not letting me show this freaking article. What the hell? Anyways, Trump is even throwing people into Africa. Let me show you that. Trump deports illegals to Africa. He doesn't care if you're not from there. He doesn't care. He just, anyone that's telling him, yeah, he's having them go to Africa, to Aswana. Let me see. Where is that? Okay. Let me play this video. Oh my God.
In an expansion of the Trump administration's third country deportation program, the U.S. has already deported 8 men to another African country, South Sudan, after the Supreme Court lifted restrictions on sending people to countries where they have no ties. The United States says it has sent 5 immigrants to the small African nation of Eswatini in an expansion of the Trump administration's third country deportation program. The U.S. has already deported 8 men to another African country, South Sudan, after the Supreme Court lifted restrictions on sending people to countries where they have no ties. In a post on X, Homeland Security Assistant Secretary Tricia McLaughlin said the 5 men sent to Eswatini were citizens of Vietnam, Jamaica, Cuba, Yemen, and Laos. She also said they were all convicted criminals and, quote, individuals so uniquely barbaric that their home countries refused to take them back. It's not clear if the men had been deported from prison or if they were detained in immigration operations. The Eswatini government has long been accused of clamping down on human rights.
We strongly condemn this action by the bully USA. We are a very small country in this world. We do not have enough funds to possibly finance this adventure unless there has been exchange of money, which we strongly condemn. Especially the government has to come open. Why hasn't it reached this decision? It must correct this decision because it's clear that the people are not in agreement. They do not agree to what the government has done.
There was no immediate comment from Eswatini authorities over any deal to accept third country deportees or what would happen to the men in their country.
Which brings me to this, and what a thought that came to mind. I think Black Americans that's over there in Africa might be in trouble, might somehow find themselves in trouble once it's found out that they're American, with all the travel bans and all the restrictions for the Africans to come to America. Of course, they want to be over here versus be in Africa. And Trump is making it very, very difficult for anyone to really be able to maneuver around like that if you're from Africa. And I can just see people being jealous of how free we are to come and go as we want, being free and clear to go wherever we desire to go as Americans. And that could pose an issue eventually. Maybe countries will want to retaliate onto the Americans that are in Africa. Something that y'all might want to keep in mind with all these different changes that are happening. Again, there is a battle right now going on with Black Americans versus Africans right now due to the African Union hijacking our reparations claim, due to the Essence Festival being turned into an African or immigrant type of festival versus acknowledging and keeping the Essence Festival as is. A lot of us that are Black Americans who claim to be delineating from that African American term are feeling very disrespected on so many different levels, to where people are now saying that they're going to boycott African shops and stores and restaurants. So I want to show a little bit of that before I go. This is what's going on though online. I really don't know if this boycott is really going to affect African owned spots or not, because I'm not sure if more people knows of FBA or ADOS off YouTube. It really depends if it's really spreading off of YouTube, whether or not it's going to have an effect. But I do know that we on YouTube we're not taking the disrespect no more. And so if we have to pull our money back to teach y'all a lesson about disrespect, that's what they're going to do. I personally don't go to an African restaurant. I've never been to one, so I don't have to boycott. I don't get my hair braided by anybody, so it doesn't have any ill effect on me to go do anything. But here's what's going on. Let's take a look at this video real quick and what's happening.
How we should control the facts when we the one who bought it.
Black Americans, come here, come here. This is a message for y'all, especially my Black American women. Come here, listen. I I think it's time for us to show how strong and how powerful the Black American dollar is, since they don't believe us. I think it's time to boycott the braiding shops. That's what I think it's time to do. It's time to boycott the braiding shops. Stop going. We know how to braid. Let's braid our own hair. Support our own small businesses. Stop going to the braid shops. Teach them how to have some fucking respect, because they have none. Black American power. Black American dollar. They need us. We don't need them. Remember that. Do I wish there could be unity in a community? Absolutely. But that ain't gonna happen until they give us our fucking respect. And they've never done it. So, fuck all that. Boycott time. No more African braid shops. It's time to boycott the African braid shops. Stop going. Let's show them how powerful our Black American dollar is, since they think we can't control this fucking narrative. Since they think we got everything, well, let's show them how much we really fucking got. Black American power. Again, I'm gonna keep saying it. Like, follow, share, comment below.
Guys, my name is Esther Daniel and you're welcome back to the channel. Today, we are diving into a conversation that's been blowing up all over TikTok and Instagram. The tension between African shop owner and a Black American customers. There has been talk of a boycott. There has been frustration, pain, anger, but there is also been a lot of misunderstanding and generalization on both sides. So in this video, we are going to break it down objectively and honestly. No yelling, no dragging, just real talk. It started with a viral TikTok where a Black American woman talked about feeling disrespected and mistreated in African-owned braid shop. She called for a boycott, saying that the community needs to stop supporting businesses that don't value them. Black people started chiming in, sharing similar experiences, long wait times, poor customer service, surprise fees, feeling rushed or dismissed.
Again, it's about the assumptions that Africans are taking upon themselves to assume that they should be able to cancel us collectively in our own shit. People are coming in America and they're really disrespecting us over here in America. They don't know how to wipe off their feet and be respectful and respect our culture. Let us take the lead. We've always taken the lead here in America. And they're trying to bogart and take the lead on everything pertaining to anything attached to us. And that's not going to work out, honestly. Pan-Africans that think that they can jump ahead of stuff and speak for us, be our spokesperson and all that, that's out the window, y'all. That's not acceptable. And you're going to find more and more of us act a fool with boycotting or speaking up, speaking our mind. And it's not Islamophobic for us to be telling our truth. And Africans just need to understand that, you know, this idea that a lot of them have, that we're supposed to just bow down to them. We are not going to do that. We're really not going to do that. You know, so in a nutshell, there's a lot of stuff going on. I personally, in my mind, don't feel that we need to be going to those places anyways, because a lot of them are getting deported. So say you live in Florida and you go hang out where the Haitians are and they're about to get rounded up in September, right? Supposedly, I don't know, allegedly. Maybe they might have a judge getting away of it for a little bit. I don't know. But anyways, when you go to those places and they're potentially in threat, jeopardy of being detained, you don't want to be in none of those places if it pops off like that. So I don't know why people expect us to continue to want to go to those kind of places. For what? What is the benefit of us risking going to those restaurants or going to the braid shops or anything like that. There's no benefit. You're risking what's about to happen. A lot of stuff is happening right now. I just would be very leery and worried about doing any of that. So anyways, there's a lot of people that are self-deporting ahead of the major ICE crackdown. This is why I'm alerting y'all about being prepared for anything to pop off, just in case people have guns or act a fool before they leave, or they want to take people out before they go and all that kind of thing. Also, keep up with your IDs, especially now, because there are a lot of people that are scammers that would try to get to your information if they could and pretend to be you, if they could get away with it. There was a case a long time ago where a woman killed another woman and stole her ID, stole her information, and pretended to be her. And I kind of wonder about that kind of thing, with people being so desperate would try anything. So just be mindful. I'm not going to drag this out. There's nobody in the chat anyways. So I just wanted to come on and give my spill. Again, rest in peace to Malcolm Warner. He was a great Black American guy, indigenous American Black, who really left a mark as far as what decency was, a genuine dude. And I really feel sad for his loss. Again, ADOS, FBA, I'm asking y'all to please take the movement off of YouTube. Do something constructive and productive. Write a letter or two to Trump and others, not the Democrats, but others, just to make sure that they know our voice can be felt. I mean, I believe in my mind, we should be flooding the presidency, with letters and faxes and calls and all kinds of stuff. Just imagine if 10,000 of us did that all at once. It would really get picked up by the news. It would really allow for us to have a voice. And I really feel like the strategy of the Democrats is to keep us voiceless. And every time we do something on YouTube, they're trying to make it sound like it's Russian bots or it's white supremacy and all this other stupid stuff. Let me address that real quick before I go. I did not need to talk to a Republican or a racist or a white person to come to the conclusions that what I have come to on my own. I have eyes. I can see. I can discern. I can hear that what is going on in this country is not quite right. And I didn't have to hear from anybody to come to that conclusion by myself. Why is it that everybody is trying to say everybody that thinks on their own as a Black American has to be connected to white supremacy, has to be a psyop, has to be a part of some conspiracy theory? Why are we not allowed to have our own voice? It's by design, y'all. Nobody wants Black Americans to have their own voice, their own mind, their own say. Because if we do, it's going to shake up America, because they have been able to contain us with the mindset of being docile and inactive and just, shut down easily. Told to shut up, told to get away, told we're not listening to you, you're being divisive, you're being Islamophobic. All these things they hurl at us if we ask a question, if we make a statement. And since I'm seeing all these barriers, people hindering our progression to let us be free to speak up on our own without anybody in the way of it. That is why I have to go do what I'm about to do. I'm going to draft a letter next month, and I'm going to write to Trump in September. That's my goal. I will not idly sit back and play dumb and let others take over my voice and speak for me without me challenging that. I will not let nobody have that power over me. And I hope others would join in and do what I'm about to do. Like I said, Frederick Douglass and others that were advocates and very proactive in their time with writing petitions and different things that they submitted to the government for them to debate and argue their point of what they were trying to accomplish, which was get away from slavery, allow us to have citizenship, all these different things. Our time, well, the people of our past have done, and we're not doing that now. We are relying too much on these so-called leaders that have been sabotaged and have been sold out a long time ago. They're never going to come around and do the right thing for us. We got to make things change on our own. We have to ruffle the feathers. We have to move furniture around. We have to change the scenery somehow to let our voice be known. And I believe the best way to let your voice be known is to write a very passionate letter or petition, declaration, whatever you want to call it, and submit that to various places to get the type of attention we need, because everybody that has another agenda is trying to get in the way of us speaking up. Think about Joyce Reed and how she's moving. Roland Martin complaining. Everybody's expecting us to be their little bitty bitch and just do what we're told. And we're not settling for that. But we are going to have to do more than what we're doing. So I hope that this inspires y'all to do something. By the way, I do have an address that I want to drop. Hold on. Oh, I don't know what I did with it. So what I'm going to do is maybe in the next few days, I'll come back and I'll give the information pertaining to the African Union where we could try to do a cease and desist to them. I am going to try to contact a lawyer and see if I can get a cease and desist to give to the African Union here in, I believe, Washington. They have an office. So I'm going to look to do that. But if you have any other information that you can share in the comment section, please do so, Black Americans. Please lend your information to support and help us help one another. I would greatly appreciate that if you could do that. I will return in the next 3 to 4 days to do another live And I hope that you guys would support by liking and sharing the video, and understand, YouTube and everybody listening, I do not hate nobody. I just want to be me. That's the clearest way to express what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to have my own narrative. I'm trying to have my own voice, my own opinion. I'm trying to go in the direction that my spirit leads me to go. I do not want to be bullied or punked or marginalized, ignored, or called all kinds of hateful stuff because I'm not doing what you expect me to do. Many of us as Black Americans, for those that are confused, we are not Pan-African. That's the biggest elephant in the room that Africans and Pan-Africans can't seem to accept. You guys are not gonna change our mind on that. There is no benefit for us being Pan-African. We do not want to be someone else's servant. We don't want to be their servant. I don't want to become a debt slave. I don't want to be worshiping Africans. I'm sorry. That's not what I lived my whole entire life to turn around and do. You know, but a lot of people have these feelings that we need to be something that we're not trying to be. You know, no one's stopping y'all from mobilizing, moving to Africa, getting together with people that claim to really be about Pan-Africanism, and go do whatever you desire to go do. Somehow you guys are so consumed with Black Americans doing what you say. And that's the issue. Just like you, Afro Think Tank, you think that you have authority over us somehow because you call yourself a goddamn chief. You're not our chief, though. We did not elect you to be a chief over us. So you running around wagging your finger, talking hella shit, barking at the YouTube, talking hella reckless, looking all raggedy with a motor mouth, is not changing our position and our disposition as being American. You know, you guys think somehow the pressure is going to change us, is going to make us have to bow down. It's going to make us more mad, and it's going to make us be more determined to not do what you're trying to make us be a part of. That's what it's going to do. You know, I hope Africans will get together with other Africans and figure shit out. But it's not Black Americans' place to be the scapegoat and the savior and the sacrificial lamb for anything pertaining to y'all. That's the reality that y'all gonna have to fess up to, realize, or it's gonna get uglier. It's gonna get uglier. This pressure that you guys keep applying to us, we're gonna resist further. And it's gonna leave y'all, you know, more and more hateful towards us. Why would you have to be hateful? I don't get it. If you would just accept our answer. Our answer is clear. We're not Pan-African. We're not doing what you say. Sorry. But for those that can appreciate the truth as it is and like what I'm spitting right now, please support. Hit the like, share, and subscribe button. You won't hear anybody that speaks the way that I do because I'm not influenced by nobody. I don't have an agenda other than being me. That's the agenda, being me. Preserving me. Preserving my, you know, my survival and to be who I am and always been. That's it. I'm not a part of a group. I'm not a part of an organization. I'm not a part of a ideology such as Pan-African or any of that. I'm a woman. who happens to be an American, Black, indigenous to America. And I happen to be very vocal now because I have to be. This is not something that I like to do. It's not something that is easy to do for me because I'm not really a good talker. But I cannot just wait for others to get their shit right because they're just not going to get it right. Too many people are sold out. Too many people are influenced to appease others because they don't know who they are within themselves. So they are, dumbed down to try to be liked by others. And I don't care to be liked by everybody. I just want to do the right thing by me and stand up for myself. So this is what this channel is about, revealing stuff in real time as it is in our life. I'm not talking about what happened in Egypt or what happened in the 60s, what happened in 1800s. That stuff has its place and time to talk about. But I think that what's more important to talk about is what's going on today, 2025, real reality shit going on, hardcore. How are we going to survive day to day? What can we do? What can we contribute to our survival? How can we enhance the probability of survival? How can we defend ourselves against opposers and ops? We got to do more than just talk online. That's my opinion. We got to put it out there in the atmosphere, what we desire to have. If you never say what you want, you will never, ever get it. And I do believe that you do have to walk by faith, and you have to exhibit the willingness to do the work and do some work to achieve something. And I just don't want us to just kick back on YouTube and just listen to Tariq Nasheed and other content creators just rambling and not doing anything ever outside of YouTube. It's fine and dandy to go on a march. I believe they did a reparation gathering in Washington once or twice, but it never picked up in the news. It never was recognized by anybody of any merit, most certainly not the president or the Congress or the Democrats or anybody. So to me, it was wasted time because it didn't manifest anything positive outside of just showing up for that appearance. What can we do to proceed forward is what I would like to know. Why is Yvette Carnell, who claimed to have a lawyer before, not getting her lawyer together to draft a cease and desist to give to the African Union? Why is Tariq Nasheed, who has a lawyer, because he took Brandon, who used to be known as Pan-African Strikes Back again, to court to try to sue him or get a restraining order against him, had a lawyer, but he can't get a lawyer to try to get the African Union out of our affairs? Think about that. FBA and ADOS, none of these people that's over these movements are doing anything tangible outside of YouTube. And I find that to be a little bit peculiar with my spirit, because I think that an action should follow all this influence that they got. They got so many thousands of people following and listening to them. And they just stayed nice and tidy on YouTube. That's a little bit peculiar in my opinion. And I would hope that FBA would get at Tariq Nasheed about what are we going to do. All he has to do is say a word. All he has to say is let's go jam up Washington. the Congress, you know, a specific person that maybe is of our lineage, also Trump. Why haven't they said anything, y'all? Think about it. Just think about it. I just don't want to believe that it's it just feels, it doesn't feel right. It definitely doesn't feel right. So I'm gonna do my part, even if I'm a loner, even if I'm gonna be by myself as usual, and just give it to God, you know, to turn and help the situation out. That's all I can do, you know. But y'all have the power to try to get at these people that y'all listen to all the time to do something tangible off YouTube, is what I'm saying. Please do something out of YouTube. That's all I got to say. Thank y'all for coming through. Please hit the like, share, subscribe, and bless up.